Hey guys, �ㄓ𝐇𝐄𝐒 here, another video. This video, nice and simple, what it takes to become a high value man. Now, this is a bit of an asshole type of video because who am I to say high value? Who am I to define whether or not someone is high value, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, society does give us the metrics of high value males. And I'm going to speak to my own extent, and the main focus on this video is going to be what it takes to build yourself to become a high value man, because no man is born as a high value man. Obviously there are those that are born into wealth and have the advantages that provides, but at the same time there's more than 80% of most millionaires are self-made, right? So there's an abundance of men out there that came from nothing who became high value males. And then I'm going to answer the question as well on how much do you need to be making when looking at dating. And I'm going to, because a lot of guys are confused. Some guys are going to be disappointed, some guys are going to be happy with that answer, but that's everything I'm going to encompass in this video. Now, a long time ago, I remember myself sitting thinking, how do I become the best of all men? And when I was looking at this, I was looking at it from the purview of women, not so that I can have thousands of women, so that I can have the best woman that I can have, right? And I looked at it like this. There is a version of me that can attract 10% of all women. There's a version of me that can attract 20% of all women. There's going to be a version of me that can do 40, 60, 80, right? And now one may say, oh, life isn't all about women. I truly believe for the bulk of all men, except some with psychological disorder, the biggest driving point is women. Whether that's an abundance of women to have every woman that you want to sleep with, to having someone who is your wife and someone that you're growing and building everything for and living a life for, right? I believe that is one of the biggest driving forces to all men. I've spoken to many entrepreneurs and asked them, if all women ceased to exist and no woman was going to come again, would you work? Would you work the way that you're working? Would you carry on with business? All of them except for like one or two said, I wouldn't work, I'd stop, right? So it's a considerable driving factor. And I looked at it and I said, okay, so it's not that I want every woman. I've done all the maths, it's impossible. Like I can't be with every woman in one lifetime. So I need to be with one woman and I need to make sure that she's the best of women. Now, I have to an extent, reverse engineer this. I have to be able to attract a wide enough audience of women in order to look at all of them, have all of them as an option. I'm going to use the word option very loosely. Have them all as an option. And from that basis, right, I can then pick that which I desire, right? Because you can't do it one-to-one. You have to look at overall schematics in order to attract the mass, yes, or be relatively attractive to the mass enough that it can get you open doors to opportunities, right? And I was looking at this, I was like, okay, cool. So that's what I need to do. Now, what is there as a man that I can work on? What defining factors are, let's say, are women attracted to? And I boiled it down to 5 separate things that women in general are attracted to, or like are attracted to that archetype of male who has this feature heavily defined. So I boiled it down to emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, physical. Those are the 5 things that obviously there's going to be some crevice or part of the population of women that this doesn't apply to, right? Like you could work on all of these things and let's say like an emo chick won't like you. Perfectly fine. You've got like a disparity, or not disparity, part of the population doesn't apply to, but the mass it does. So it's these 5 segments, and I'm going to break it down in a little bit more detail. When it comes to mental, and this isn't the order, I'll explain the order in my opinion on how you should work on things. Firstly, let's define them. Mental, that is your ability to go to war and to come back and not be broken. It's your ability to take damage and take pain to an unforgivable amount and still be okay. To be able to go to war, come back and manage the family unit. Be someone who is productive among society and not be someone who is broken. Now, I'm not judging anyone who's gone to war and broken. Personally, I haven't gone to war, but it's your ability to take on mass amounts of stress, mass problem, confusion, chaos. Let's use the word chaos. Your ability to take on chaos and not be broken by it. The next one is your ability is the emotional, which is your ability to understand your partner and yourself, to understand the dynamics between men and women, women and men, and to be able to fruitfully apply your labor and make your actions, whether that's how you do things, when you do things, why you do things, the way that you speak and the way that you interpret the opposite sex or your partner, right? And that's very much the Casanova, Romeo style of attracting women. Yes, let's call it Riz. It's your ability to understand who the woman is and what the woman desires and be able to play into all of that and lucratively succeed in that. And let's say the mentality one, where it's the mental, let's put David Goggins as an archetype. So we've got David Goggins, I need to take notes. We have Romeo, Casanova, however we want to put it. Someone who's just a big player. Yes, that's the emotional. David Goggins we're going to put for the mental. Yes, you can use other types like Alexander the Great, or pick some UFC fighter. That's the mental aspect. Next one is spirituality. Spirituality is your relationship with God, your understanding with having some form of base, whether that's religious or whether you believe in flowers or bushes or whatever the fuck you want to say. Yes, for the bulk of us, it's God. Right? It's having that relationship with a higher power and being able to understand the importance of a higher power. Yes, pick whatever religious figure that you want. Now, I'm not saying become religious, but understanding that there's a ground basis that is able to control chaos, or at the very least put parameters, and being able to stick to said parameters. It's a trait that one should truly work on, right? So that's the spirituality, whatever religious figure that you would like to utilize, whether that's a priest, imam, someone famous, go for that one. Yeah, so that's the spirituality, it's your relationship with God and the development of the relationship with God. The next one is financial. Nice and simple, how much money you got in the bank and how much money you can make. I don't want to say more specifically, later on we're going to discuss disposable cash flow. Yes, but it's just your abilities to work with finance, to work with money. Then the final one is physical. Are you in good shape? Do you take care of yourself? How do you look? Now let's put financial as what? Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, cash heavy motherfuckers, like whatever you want to put it as, like the end point of financial. And then we've got physical. I'm sure you can think of many powerlifters, bodybuilders, as how good are you physically? Yes? So these are the five, let's say the five archetypes that you can like really push and develop or really work on. Yes? And now, with all of these, bless me, alhamdulillah, with all of these archetypes, you can be really, really good at one of them and attract a mass audience of the opposite sex, or be seen as high value based on that parameter alone. Yes, you could be in the top 10% of physical shape, and someone will look at you and think that's a high, like in the fear of, let's say, fitness or well-being, you would be considered and classed high value. Exact same with financial, exact same with mental, emotional, and spiritual. Yes, all of them attract a different sphere of the population. And if you know what a Venn diagram is, we're going to apply a Venn diagram here. If you don't know what a Venn diagram is, pause the video, Google it, VENN diagram. And what we want is, we want to put as many people, a Venn diagram is showing the commonalities between the attraction points or between two separate facets, yes? We want as much of these facets as possible. And the more that we have, or the greater that we are, and let's put it at a score of 100, the higher up I am on that score, the more attractive I am, because the more people I beat. Because I'm technically, you can either say technically or categorically, better than X amount of the worldwide population. Now, you don't have to be in the top 1% of this bracket. Yes, and one key thing of being high value, yes, is the combination of all of them. To be truly high value, you need to have all of this at a high level. And the good thing is every single part of this is workable. You can work on it. You can improve your mental by going to, as stupid as it sounds, going to the sauna, being able to read a book for a prolonged period of time, being able to do something that is strenuous or difficult for a prolonged period of time. And there's overlap in all of this. Yes, the gym or let's say the physical can really push your mental ability. Yes, when it comes to mental, what I did and my recommendation to anyone watching, how you work on your mental, your ability to go to war and back, is by imposing pain upon yourself. Now, I'm not saying go whip yourself, like not at all. Go do things that are challenging. Go do things that others are unable to do. And it's not because they're unable to do it that there's the power in it. It's that they are unwilling to push themselves to be able to do A, B, C, D, or X, Y, Z, whatever it may be, whether that's waking up at a certain time and sticking to that, or whether that is going to the sauna and really pushing your body to its limits, whether that's fitness, or just starving yourself of dopamine and doing boring tasks that others are unable to do. Now, if you've got the opportunity to go to war, go to war. Personally, I disagree with war. I don't think it makes any sense to fight for any government or anything of such sorts, but that's just my opinion. Pushing your mental is the key thing, and it's how much pain can I take that the average person can't take. And it's not like you throw two people who've never experienced pain and one's going to be better than the other. Yes, it is something that you need to develop and work on and be able to just add on stress, add on stress. In the beginning, it's going to be too much, but then you're going to be able to manage. Too much, able to manage. Yes. The next one is emotional. This is a difficult one because you don't want to go down the route of just sleeping with a bunch of women, because that's genuinely not productive and not good for the soul. Like, in terms of how you are as a human being. Yes, and you also need to be selective. You can't just want to be with anyone for the sake of being with anyone or getting any points, because that's just an ego battle where you're just trying to get a lot of positive reinforcement from a bunch of strangers. Nothing's going to be gained. You may feel good temporarily, feeling a void of insecurity, but long picture, it's not useful. My recommendation for that is reading literature, understanding psychology, or studying psychology at the very least, and understanding the dynamics between men and women. What are the differences? Because you can be whatever social butterfly justice warrior saying women are the same and men are the same and it's all the same. It's really not the same. There are extreme differences between men and women. Like, cool, yeah, we can speak, we can understand each other to many extents, but the functionality, how the brain functions and the desires, so on and so forth, are very different. And if you're able to understand and communicate and see what the other party wants, and not so much to be a simp, that's not at all what I'm saying, or bend to the servitude. It's understanding how the dynamics work and what is best in this case, what is best in that case, using strengths and weaknesses, so on and so forth. Looking at different humans, studying societies and the functionalities, studying dynamics between men and women, what is wanted and what is not wanted. And I don't want to give any advice here because it's going to sound toxic. Maybe that's for another video. It's not that I'm scared to say it, but for another video. I don't want to delve too far into that. It's studying the opposite sex and how that works with you, the sex that you have, and the dynamics between the two. And that's just repeated studying, running a theory, testing the theory, so on and so forth. Then spirituality, studying religions. One big thing on this is I don't recommend anyone pick one religion and just run with it. You have to understand that religions are complex and you need to have an understanding of all the religions and the relationships with God and how to further that relationship in order to get better on the realm of spirituality. Yes, and then financial, difficult. Financial, nice and simple. You got to battle every other man, and I'm speaking to men in this video, you have to battle every other man in their capacity to make money. At the end of the day, making money is a conversation between two different parties. Some people just do it better than others. It is your understanding of how money moves, how to make it, what creates the flow of money. Why does someone pay me more than they pay you? How can you get paid more than the person next door to you or down the line, right? Technically speaking, based on, like, I just did a bit of Googling before, you have to make 6 figures consistently for a few years to be classed as high value, yeah? How high up can you get? Now, granted, past a certain point, you are high value. Cool, you can be higher value than this person, but at the end of the day, that's just an ego thing. Because yes, it's important to compare yourselves to those who are further than you, but when it comes to the category of high value, past a certain point, you are high value because you make bread, you make proper money, disposable cash, and you can do a lot with it. Your opportunities in life, the horizons to which you see, are fully expanded. So that's a key. The key thing to consider there is how can I increase how much I'm earning year on year out. Yes, and then physical, go to the gym. Literally go to the gym, control your diet. It speaks a lot to the type of man that you are based on how you treat your body and how you treat yourself. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not in the best of shape. I've had 4 or 5 Red Bulls today. I'll explain why. For me, that's at the bottom of the hierarchy. Yes. Now let's kind of wrap this point up, and then we're going to move over to the point on how much you have to make. Yes, to start dating or going into the field of marriage or so on and so forth. In my humble opinion, and how it depends on what you want from that, and I'll touch on that in a second. To be high value, you need to be in the top 80% of all of those brackets. Now, many people say, no, you have to be in the top 90%, you have to be in the top 1%. You don't. Simply because it's a merit across all fields. Yes, you've got people at the 1% of, let's say, financial, but they are really lacking in all of the other ones, making it a substantial turnoff, right? So what you want to do is hone your skills and look at where you are at and who is the best. Now, this is not your best. This is who is the top in the world. There is the best at everything in the world. You pick something, there is a best in the world. Well, chess, you've got that Marcus, whatever his name is. Yeah, Magnus. He is the top at chess. There is a number one. And you have to look at that number one and think, cool, he is number one. I have to get there, or as close as possible. That is a standard that you set. When it comes to any of these, whether it's emotional, whether it's spiritual, whether it's financial, who is the top 1%? And that is the benchmark that you set at the top. That is what you strive for. Yes, not the best version of you, because honestly, you're fucking useless. If you were to rank yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, and please write these down, rank yourself. Whatever you put down, understand you have overestimated yourself substantially, and knock it down by half, if not way more. And what you want to do is you want to understand wherever you're at, bring it down, because there is so much further to go ahead. And once you work on all these things, based on my research, based on my understanding on all of this, and based on my experiences in the world, that is how you can become a better man, become a high value man, per se. Now, the interesting thing with all of this is, cool, there will be people who may watch this and say, Ishmael, you're not a high value man. Realistically, you want to look at it from a facet of the whole world, or at the very least in your city, in your country. You could drop me down in the bulk of countries, and this is not to be a cunt, you can drop me down in the bulk of countries, I'm in the top 1%. Right? Okay, let's say 5%. In all of these. Now, some of them I'll be a lot weaker. Yes, as an example, there are literal people who go to war who could most likely do better than me when it goes to war, because I have no experience in that. But when it comes to all, just well-roundedness, yes, I'm comfortable in all of those domains, more than comfortable. And you have to figure out how you can get to the top. Now, granted, I'll also recognize that I have a lot further to go in all of those domains, right? Now, the two that I recommend, well, the top of the list is financial, because financial is the hardest one to get to the top, in my humble opinion. Yes? To get to the top in finance, oh, that's so difficult. To understand how money works, how to get it going, how to keep it sustained, it takes 5 years, maybe more. Now, obviously, you can be really good. You can have past skill sets. As an example, you could have worked in sales for a bunch of years, making it a lot easier when you go into the business world or a career ladder. I'm not too honestly familiar how careers work. Yes, but down the career ladder, so on and so forth. And the least important is physical. Now, this is not to say let yourself go become a fat piece of shit. Yes, not at all. Being a fat man is very disgusting. I highly recommend don't become a fat man. You're just being a lazy fuck. It's disgusting. I recommend don't care about the physical. Train once or twice a week at the very least. And make sure you manage your diet. That's all you really need to do. Because it's the easiest one to work on. Because you could put a 6-month plan that will categorically work if you stick to it to get in very good shape. Easy? Maybe not easy, but guaranteed to work. You don't have that in any of the other domains. Now, I've looked to see what other domains there are that I can think of, and I couldn't think of any. So if you can think of any other domains, please put it down in the comments. I'd love to review it, potentially adjust the video. Now, let's move on to the final topic, which is the good old, how much money do I need to make in order to date? And granted, the bulk of my sphere is just entrepreneurs. I've heard so many entrepreneurs say, oh, I don't make enough, I don't make enough. You don't actually have to make that much to date women. And I'll explain it to this extent. To date, yes, there hasn't been one woman that I've known who has any understanding or let's say a full comprehension on what I do. She could be side by side for me 6 months. 6 months. Side by side, day in, day out. Doesn't know what the fuck I do. Because that doesn't matter. Now, I'm going to preface this once again for any tool who decides to get offended. I'm talking about my type of woman that I am typically attracted to, which somehow, for some reason, typically doesn't care about their own work or their careers, which I have no issues with. If you have issues with that, that's cool. I don't care about that. So, what do they care about? Because they don't ask me how much I make. Like, I don't think today any girl has ever asked me how much I make. They don't care about what I really do. Couldn't give a shit. They may ask, I can avoid the answers, they don't care. So what is it that they care? It's, what are they able to do? Are they able to go to A, B, C, D, do X, Y, Z without an issue? And you don't have to take them to the best restaurants every day like clockwork. You don't have to buy them expensive shit like clockwork. You have to be able to be financially capable. And now the key thing is financially capable, which is disposable cash. What you need is disposable cash, cash that can be burnt. Now, when I say burnt, I mean burnt, right? And now, one thing I also need to preface is I'm talking about going past a certain echelon of women, let's say high value women, where the base characteristics of being high value is being very attractive. So I'm talking about very attractive women. If you're offended by this statement, this is society. It is a base level requirement. Find me an ogre that is classed as high value, you won't find one. Now, obviously, there's other things that make a woman more high value, but then you have to understand the higher value, the more competitive the sphere, because the more men that she's able to attract. Diving back in, it's the disposable cash. It's the ability to live a life, I don't want to say that's worth living, but live a life that is well experienced. It's the ability to not need to say no. It's the ability to discuss options. Yeah, I'll give an example. Now, I recognize that this is an extreme example. Speaking to a wonderful lady, and she's saying to me, I told her, I said, look, let's go on a holiday. Your family don't like me, so you've been boycotted from your holidays, so let's go on a holiday. I told her, you have a task, find places, get back to me. She came back with places. She had said, look, I found these places, and the good thing, so for 2 weeks, all of them that I found are under $70,000. In my head, I chuckled, ha ha ha. I don't find cheap women. But it's the ability to say no. Now, granted, the example I've used is very extreme. For some people, it may not, but realistically, the views are very extreme. You don't need to be anywhere close to that point of having that as options. It's just being able to regularly go on dates, being able to buy a bunch of items, whether that's 100 roses or the occasional branded thing. Generally does not have to be much. My financial recommendation is being at a position where, if you're in a position where you have 5,000 to 10,000 disposable cash, you can comfortably date and enjoy dating. Now, this is, again, not to say anyone who doesn't have that shouldn't date. Like, if you don't have to make any money to date. This is more specifically for those guys who have a complex on how much needs to be spent, or needing to be in a certain position in order to provide and experience the world. Now, granted, if you add in different aspects such as taking care of family, kids, so on and so forth, that's an entirely different. I'm talking about man, woman, having fun. You don't need that much. You need, let's say, 4,000 disposable. 4,000 plus disposable to burn, but then literally burn on dumb shit, right? More than enough. Now, obviously, the higher you go, the more you can spend, but you can comfortably date with 4,000 disposable and have a really good dating experience where lots of things are done and lots of options are available. Again, this is not to say that you need money to date. You can date with no money, like more than an option, not necessary. But for those who want to provide a certain standard or be able to do a certain amount of things and don't want limitations on that, 4,000, 5,000 to 10,000, that is recommended. Now, for those who have stuck down till the end of the video, please leave a comment down below with whatever type of video, whatever questions you may have, whether that's personal, whether that's just curiosity, whether you want my opinion on how to handle the situation. Let me know, it gives me inspiration, and I'll make some videos and I'll make sure to reply to all the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.